It became a power struggle. Reese has always been an outspoken, confident player. She thrives on emotion, energy, and passion. That's what made her a star. But Henry, she's a strict, no-nonsense leader who runs her team with discipline and structure. From the start, these two were on opposite sides of the spectrum. But at first, it wasn't a full-blown problem. Coaches and players clash all the time. It's normal. But in this case, the disagreement wasn't getting better, it was getting worse. The locker room gets uncomfortable, and that's exactly what happened here. Reports suggest that the disconnect between Reese and Henry was obvious to everyone. Some teammates felt caught in the middle. Others were just waiting for a breaking point. The fourth quarter. Some fans thought it was just a tough coaching decision. Others saw it as a power move, a message from Henry that no player is bigger than the team. The conflict between Angel Reese and coach Nola Henry went much deeper than stats. It became a power struggle. Reese has always been an outspoken, confident player. Either way, it backfired. The moment Reese was pulled from the game, the basketball world erupted. Twitter, sports talk shows, and analysts went into full debate mode. Some supported Henry, saying she was doing what's best for the team. Others thought benching Reese was a mistake, claiming that Henry was trying to prove a point instead of winning games. Angel Reese just got benched in the fourth quarter and fired from her squad, and the basketball world is in shock. Coach Nola Henry, one of the fastest rising names in coaching, just made the boldest move of her career by dropping one of the most talked about players in women's basketball. But was this about poor performance, locker room tension, or something even bigger? The fallout has fans divided, social media in flames, and analysts questioning if Reese was ever ready for this league. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark is thriving, putting up numbers that make this situation even worse for Reese. Because while Reese was struggling, Caitlin Clark was dominating, making this whole situation even harder for Reese to ignore. While Angel Reese was dealing with declining efficiency, defensive lapses, and growing tensions with her coach, Caitlin Clark was doing the exact opposite, thriving. Clark has been a scoring machine, effortlessly putting up big numbers and showing the kind of adaptability that separates good players from great ones. She's been leading her team with elite playmaking, outside shooting, and high basketball IQ. Clark's numbers are up, her impact is clear, and she's proving why so many people called her the future of the game. But here's the thing. Reese isn't just dealing with on-court struggles. Behind the scenes, there were whispers about attitude issues, tension in the locker room, and a refusal to adjust to Henry's system. Some insiders claim that Reese was outspoken about her role, making it clear that she didn't agree with the way Henry wanted her to play. It was a combination of poor performance, a tough coaching relationship, and Clark's success making everything look worse by comparison. And when you're one of the most talked about players in the sport, your struggles are magnified in a way others never have to deal with. Insiders say that during team practices and meetings, Reese was very vocal about her role. She had a vision of how she should play, and it didn't match Henry's system. Henry, on the other hand, wanted more structure, better defense, and improved shooting. She wasn't asking Reese to stop being aggressive. She was asking her to refine her game, but Reese saw it differently. She didn't want to change what made her successful in college. Therefore, neither side budged. And when a coach and player dig their heels in, it creates a toxic atmosphere. Other players start noticing the tension. The locker room gets uncomfortable. And that's exactly what happened here. Reports suggest that the disconnect between Reese and Henry was obvious to everyone. Some teammates felt caught in the middle. Twitter, Instagram, and sports forums were flooded with hot takes, conspiracy theories, and heated debates over whether coach Nola Henry had just made the biggest mistake of her career or the boldest move yet. They argued that her rebounding ability and defensive presence were still elite and that any struggles she had were temporary. One fan even tweeted, "Nola Henry just made the dumbest decision ever, benching Angel Reese. That's like benching your best weapon. You don't sit a star like that. Period." What if this was actually a wake-up call? What if this entire situation was meant to light a fire under Reese, forcing her to step up, evolve, and come back stronger? They've been doubted, benched, or told they weren't good enough. But what separates legends from everyone else is how they respond. Therefore, the real question isn't whether Henry made the right call. The real question is what Reese does next. Was this about poor performance, locker room tension, or something even bigger? The fallout has fans divided, social media in flames, and analysts questioning if Reese was ever ready for this league. Henry wanted structure, strategy, and efficiency. Reese wanted to play her aggressive, high-energy game, but instead of adjusting, she resisted. And that's where things started to unravel. Therefore, the real question becomes, was this purely a basketball decision, or was something deeper brewing behind the scenes? But here's where it gets even messier. It was a statement. Henry had no problem benching Reese in the fourth quarter, despite her status as a high-profile player. But why? What pushed her to this point? Some believe it was Reese's declining performance. Others say it was a battle of egos. The truth? It's likely both. Reese's turnovers, fouls, and inefficient shooting have been adding up. She's still a dominant rebounder, but in a league this competitive, rebounding alone isn't enough. They've been doubted, benched, or told they weren't good enough. But what separates legends from everyone else is how they respond. Therefore, the real question isn't whether Henry made the right call. The real question is what Reese does next. And that's what makes this situation even more intense, because Reese is now at a major career crossroads, and how she responds to this setback could define her entire future. She can either use this moment as motivation, refine her game, and come back stronger, or she can let the pressure, criticism, and setbacks define what happens when you know how to lead, demand excellence, and refuse to let anyone, not even a superstar, disrupt your system. From day one, Henry made it crystal clear that she doesn't care about names, hype, or past success. She only cares about winning. Her philosophy: discipline over drama, teamwork over ego. You don't fit her mold, you don't last long. That's why this move wasn't just about sending a message. The tension between a coach and a star player reaches a certain point. There are only two outcomes. Either the player adjusts or the coach moves on. Henry made her choice, but the fallout didn't stop with just a benching, because the moment Reese was officially off the team, the internet exploded and conspiracy theories started flying. The moment Angel Reese was dropped from her squad, social media went into a complete meltdown. But here's the reality: this was never going to end peacefully. Once the tension between a coach and a star player reaches a certain point, there are only two outcomes. Either the player adjusts or the coach moves on. Many backed Henry, saying this was exactly the type of hard coaching decision that separates good teams from great ones. They pointed out that Reese's numbers weren't just slipping, they were a problem. Her shooting, inconsistent. Her defense, too slow against elite competition. Her chemistry with Henry, non-existent. One fan fired back, saying, "Coach Henry is building a team, not a one-woman show. If Angel Reese can't adapt, she has to sit down. The league isn't about egos." And that's where things got even crazier. Whenever a high-profile athlete gets benched, cut, or dropped, the internet does what it does best: create wild theories.